What are some of the areas, or do you have more difficulty in some areas than you do others? For example, is there any difference in the ghettos, reaching the people in the ghetto areas?
Yes, this is more difficult. We do feel that we had somewhat of an undercount in this area in 1960.
Why was this so?
Well, we're not sure exactly, except that we couldn't find, it seemed to be narrowed down to the young black male between the ages of 18 and 30. For any number of reasons, they may not have wanted to be counted. We couldn't find them. I don't know exactly what it was.
How will you find them this year?
This year we're using a little different approach. We do have community education specialists for the first time this year.
They'll be working in these areas, will they?
Yes. They'll be working in the ghetto areas, and they'll be talking to groups, the urban group and the NAACP and SIR and LULAC, and wherever they can. They're going to spread the word that it's important that everybody be counted, particularly for the black people.
Thing I'm going to suggest, if George does get into the race, is that we have a series of debates all over the state. Right now we have a deficit in the state committee. And I think this series of debates on the great issues of our time would stimulate interest in the Republican primary and would help make up the deficit for the state committee.
What are some of these great issues, Doctor?
Well, certainly national defense is high. Our defense posture is dwindling. The Soviet Union is building up a military monster, and that if we don't do something to reverse the trend of the last 10 or 15 years, we're going to be in serious trouble.
What would you like to see us do in this area?
Well, we certainly should have implement the ABM, which was just barely voted this year by a 50-50 vote in the Senate. We should strengthen our Navy, and that we should engage in extensive research and development in the area of missiles and vehicles of outer space. Yes, I support his program of Vietnamization, but I say it's not enough. I say we should engage in something called Asia-tization. In other words, the problem isn't only Vietnam. The North Vietnamese are in Cambodia in great strength. They're in Laos in great strength. They're threatening Thailand. And I think that we should have a plan that will solve all of these things all at once. And that calls for some kind of a strong alliance of non-communist nations of Asia who will get together and carry on the bulk of the war. I know from my experience in Asia that they could carry the war more effectively than we are now carrying it on. What we're doing now is just engaging in a standstill.
Dr. Morris, what about some of the domestic issues? Inflation is one. What can we do to curb inflation?
Inflation is an important issue. I think President Nixon is to be commended for a stand on inflation, but I would put the emphasis on production. He's curbing the demand, and as a result, high interest rates and money scarcity are causing more problems than they are helping. And I think that we should put, in fighting inflation, we should put a greater stress on increased production.